many times have you watched a cartoon and thought to yourself, there's something bigger to this? Well, today we're going to look at some of the craziest cartoon conspiracy theories that will ruin your childhood forever.
We've all seen The Lion King and remember the scene where Scar kills Mufasa. And that Simba finds Mufasa dead and is told to run away.
That was traumatic.
But then we never see what happens to Mufasa's body. You might just assume that the hyenas ate it, but in real life, hyenas don't eat lions. The only thing that eat lions is other lions. And then we fast forward to Scar playing around in some bones and hold up a skull that looks a whole lot like a lion's skull. Scar ate Mufasa! In the movie Ratatouille, we get Anton Ego's flashback scene to his childhood eating his mother's food, and we get to see a lot of his house, and even get to see his mother. But everything there is just way too similar to the old woman's house that we see at the beginning of the film. Like, even the chair is the same. And Anton Ego says that he loves Remy's food because it reminds him of his mother's cooking. And that's because Remy learned how to cook from Ego's mom! So everybody remembers in Harry Potter how unkind and cruel the Dursleys are to Harry, and we just chalk it up to them being awful people. But if you remember how Harry, Ron, and Hermione's mood changed after being around the Horcrux for too long, and if you remember that Harry is a Horcrux himself, then it kind of makes sense that the people that were around Harry for years would be affected by this and just be fucking assholes all the time.
What's that one thing that sparked in your brain that made you question everything?
Mr. Krabs is not Pearl's dad. He is her sugar daddy.
I kind of knew. Oh, sugar daddy.
Hear me out, though.
I didn't think about that.
We done seen everybody parents in the Bikini Bottom except for maybe Sandy, but she ain't even from there. SpongeBob parents, some sponges. Patrick parents, some starfish. Mr. Crab parents, some crabs. And Squidward's mom is a squid. But ain't nobody seen Pearl Mama. Plus, she always asking for money. And when she asks for it, she don't be like, Dad, can I have blah, blah, blah. No. What does this girl say? Daddy! I mean, it makes sense, though.
It does.
In the spirit of the holiday, I'm going to bring your attention to a theory I cannot take credit for, even if I did think it at the time. But you know what? I didn't say anything, so it doesn't matter. Side note, why do we treat Kardashian theories and predictions like competitions or like races or sports bets? It's algorithm driven somehow, and it's really interesting. Nonetheless, here it is. User Damn You. The second they posted these claiming Kanye was inside is the moment the jig was up. These Halloween costumes were presented to us in 2019 when Kim and Kanye were still saying they were together. As you can see, Kanye's identity is very obscured. Costumes like this could be viewed as a creative solution to the problem of an absent Kanye in the interest of putting forth a still cohesive public image. What do we think? Is Kanye in there? One of my brilliant followers on Instagram pointed this out. And it's also really interesting, if you know the history of the Flintstones, that they chose this costume, but that's...
Recently, I've had a lot of requests for Family Guy
That's
theories,
not
so
Kanye.
here we go. Let's start with the theory that the reason Brian talks is because he's actually a human in a dog's body. For this theory, we need to consider the fact that Family Guy takes place in the same universe as American Dad, and incidentally Seth MacFarlane's other animated show, The Cleveland Show. One of the primary characters of American Dad is a talking fish named Klaus, who is actually an East German Olympic ski jumper who had his mind transferred into a goldfish by the CIA to keep him from winning a gold medal. So if we know that this technology is possible...
Yo, that's some Neuralink type stuff, yo. We gotta watch out. We gonna be dogs and fish out here next.
It wouldn't be a huge leap to assume that Brian had the same thing happen to him. One piece of evidence that seems to go against this theory is that Brian's cousin, Jasper, also talks, which I guess implies that knowing how to talk is a genetic thing in dogs, although Brian's mom also can't talk. As interesting as this is, others have pointed out that it may not have been the CIA that did it. It may have been Dr. Hartman, the Griffin's family doctor, because one season 9 episode reveals that Dr. Hartman actually created another talking animal character, the giant chicken.
I once tried to clone a chicken. The result wound up being a man-sized chicken that was incredibly hostile and ended up escaping from the lab.
And that's not the only theory as to why Brian can talk, so let me know if you want to see more.
Wild conspiracy theories about cartoon shows, Part 1. In Courage the Cowardly Dog, what if Courage is actually a completely normal dog? We're just seeing how the world would look from a dog's perspective. All the villains in the show are actually completely normal people. But to a little dog, they would appear scary. And what if they don't actually live in the middle of nowhere? But since his owners are too old to take him for walks, he only knows what's around his immediate property. And everything beyond that is nothing, because he's never seen it. Of all the theories about cartoons, this has to be one of my favorites. Let me know what you think down below with these
That one makes sense. I like Courage the Cowardly Dog. Oh, they be going deep with these theories, don't they?
What if I told you that
Hey, that's
SpongeBob
deep.
was based around the idea of cannibalism? Hear me out, this might ruin your childhood. Okay, so the chum bucket, everybody hated it. The restaurant was always empty, right? And if you Google what chum is made out of, it's made out of fish. This explains why the customers didn't want to eat the chum, because it's made out of fish and they're also fish.
Oh,
But
yeah.
listen to this. We all know that the competitor of the chum bucket was a Krusty Krab. Have you ever wondered what the secret Krabby Patty formula is? I'll give you a hint. It has to do with a lobster trap. It's so weird how the Krusty Krab is shaped like a crab trap. Kept the
Yeah.
Krabby Patty secret formula a secret because it's made out of crab. Kind of crazy.
Cartoon Conspiracies Part 3. So some of these we don't know if they're true and some of them we know are not true. Yesterday the creator of Phineas and Ferb actually commented on my post. It was so cool and he was like, I actually addressed that conspiracy and it's not true. But this one I hope is true because it's really sweet. So I loved Winnie the Pooh as a kid. I'm sure a lot of you did as well. They say that Winnie the Pooh actually represents all mental disorders. So Winnie the Pooh is impulsivity, Piglet is anxiety, Eeyore is depression, which definitely makes sense. Rabbit has OCD, Owl has dyslexia, Tigger has ADHD, Kanga has social anxiety, Roo has autism, last but not least, Christopher Robin has schizophrenia, which makes sense, that's how he's able to talk to all the animals. But the creator, A.A. Milne, actually suffered from PTSD himself. Many believe that he created these characters to show that anyone can suffer from mental disorders and to show a lighter side to them. As someone who suffers from anxiety themselves, I think it's really sweet to see it represented in a cartoon. They were all so lovable together and they loved each other and it just made light of it. So as always, comment what you think and let me know what cartoon to do next.
I do think it is crazy though that they can create all of these cartoons and these shows out of like real life situations. I mean, if these theories are correct and if they are true or valid, but even the thought of it alone is just wild. Like, how can you see Winnie the Pooh and then turn it into mental depression and all this other stuff, right? Crazy.
Creepy Cartoon Theories Part 1. Barney is based on a serial killer. There's a theory that the show was based on a serial killer that was dressed as Barney. It is said that he was wearing a dinosaur costume and he was hanging around kids' parks. When a kid would go near him, he would talk to them and then kidnap them. But we don't know what he did to these kids. A lot of them believe that they were killed, but there is no evidence of that man and if that story is true. Do you believe it's true or just a myth?
Tarzan, Elsa, and Anna's brother. We know Elsa and Anna's parents head off to a 2-week journey by sea. This event happened 3 years before the rest of the events in the film. 3 years before Frozen was Tangled. And in this scene, you see Rapunzel, Flynn, and Anna. Some Disney theorists believe that Anna and Elsa's parents died in a shipwreck on the way to Flynn and Rapunzel's wedding. As we can see, they're right here. Who again is Rapunzel and Flynn? Fanfiction says the Little Mermaid found the sunken ship, the ship that Elsa and Anna's parents were on. But they didn't die right away. They washed up to shore. So they were basically shipwrecked on an island and had a baby boy, who is Tarzan. So Elsa, Anna, and Tarzan's parents, we don't see them anymore because they were eaten by the leopard. And the director of Frozen, Jennifer Lee, confirmed that Anna and Elsa's parents were on their way to a wedding. This would make Tarzan the true Prince of Arendelle. You know, he's living his best life with Jane. So basically, all in all, they're siblings.
Dangerous cartoon.
Yo, that is crazy. I feel like all Disney movies are all related in some type of way. You know, like, I've watched too many of these conspiracy theory videos to think otherwise by now. They all have ties into each other.
Fan theories network executives do not want you to know. Part 2. The Scooby-Doo gang is all ghosts. They never change and they all aimlessly wander through town seeking closure. That's why they're always on the move and exposing fake monsters. Next, Ed, Edd and Eddy are in a purgatory nightmare. They live in a neighborhood full of kids and you never see any parents. Even the sky has a weird tint to it. Lastly, Courage the Cowardly Dog is insane and attacks normal people. Everything you see on the show is from his twisted perspective. He doesn't trust anything and new people are always bad. And he thinks he lives in a town in the middle of nowhere because he never leaves the farm. An Aladdin conspiracy theory you need to hear. Did you know Aladdin takes place in a post-apocalyptic future? The creators literally even went out of their way to prove this theory to us by leaving things such as stop signs in the game, golden video game consoles, and references to our time through genie antics. What do you think of this theory? Let me know in the comments.
Creepy Cartoon Theories Part 1. Angelica from the Rugrats is the only one who can talk to the babies because they are a figment of her imagination. That's why Stu is always in his basement making toys for the son that he lost. Chucky died in a car crash, that's why his dad is always so nervous. And the twins were actually only one baby, but Angelica didn't know if it was a boy or a girl, so she invented both of them. SpongeBob is a result of nuclear testing. The nuclear testing was performed in the Bikini Atoll in the late 1940s, and the result of that test was the Bikini Bottom. Like, how many times have you seen this explosion in the show?
There's a theory that Timmy Turner's Fairly Odd Parents are actually a metaphor for his antidepressants. In the intro song, it says they showed up on a dark and gloomy day and made everything feel better. So this theory states that Cosmo and Wanda actually represent the real-life antidepressants Zoloft and Prozac. Now Cosmo, representing Zoloft, is the medication that makes you giddy and excited, which lines up exactly to Cosmo's character. Now Wanda represents Prozac, which tends to make you more analytical and focused, which also lines up with her character. Now you can see the parallels throughout the show. Whenever Timmy abuses magic, aka antidepressants, is where he falls into trouble. Now this theory gets even deeper because if you think about it, Mr. Crocker was known to have fairies before, and if fairies represent antidepressants, that means Mr. Crocker might have been a drug addict, which is why he seems very unhinged in the show.
Hint at the darker.
Wait a minute. I don't know about all that one. I mean, it does make sense, but dang, a boy can't have no fairy odd parents without it being an antidepressant? Sheesh.
Side of crime fighting. Take for instance the episode where Robin shows the other Titans the trophies he's gained from his many adventures with Batman. While the Batcave is large enough to store all their equipment from the Batmobile to shark repellent bat spray, plus trophies like the Joker's giant card, Two-Face's giant coin, and a massive animatronic T-Rex, Teen Titans referenced the more traumatic elements of these vigilantes' daily lives. On display in the background, you can see Mr. Freeze's head.
Freezy.
Mr. Freeze.
I'm feeling hot.
I find that unlikely.
As well as the ashes of Jason Todd, the first Robin who fell at the hands of the Joker. That's not all, though. Each episode is full of hidden cameos and background gags.
Yeah, that's cool.
In an episode that flashes forward to an old and out-of-work Robin bumming around his apartment, you can spot homemade replicas of his old teammates as a happy face taped to a mop, a happy face drawn onto a sack of potatoes, and a happy face on a bucket. So we guess you don't need to watch Suicide Squad to glimpse the shadowy side of Gotham.
Here's a sponge.
Hey, so I'm one of those people that was upset when Teen Titans Go came out, because I'm like, yo, this is not the real Teen Titans. Like, I'm used to the original Teen Titans. Then they came out with Teen Titans Go. I was like, what is this little kiddie stuff? But now that I see this, it's like, yo, it's a lot deeper. And I actually kind of like it. They be coming like with some funny stuff on Teen Titans Go.
SpongeBob conspiracy theory you need to hear. Was Squidward actually SpongeBob's guardian? Think about it. Squidward hates his job and where he lives, so why doesn't he just move? It's because Squidward and SpongeBob had their houses bought for them by SpongeBob's parents. In exchange, Squidward agrees to watch over SpongeBob and keep him safe. How else would they be able to afford their homes on a fast food salary?
Do you guys remember Courage the Cowardly Dog? Turns out it's actually based on a true story. Let me explain. So here's a picture of the actual house. Basically, the middle of nowhere was an...
Y'all think that's the actual house, man? I don't know, man. That's probably some AI stuff. Someone probably just recreated that photo. Nah, she took it and said, this is the actual house. I mean, ain't no telling. Y'all let me know in the comment section. Is this Courage's real house right here?
Actual place located in New Mexico where an elderly couple actually used to live there. So the couple would always report seeing strange things such as skinwalkers. And if you don't know what a skinwalker is, basically it's an entity that kills its prey then wears its skin. Now here's the scary part. The couple disappeared, and the only thing that they found was their dog.
Cartoon conspiracies that will ruin your childhood. Part 1.
One of the most influential cartoons ever, Scooby-Doo has a deep, dark secret. The reason that the gang has never aged over the years is because they're actually not even alive. They're freelancing spirits wandering from town to town in order to expose fake ghosts to maybe one day rest their own soul. And there's a reason that all the fish under the sea can talk and move around. It's believed that the town of Bikini Bottom is below the island of Bikini Atoll, an island that the US bombed 23 times during the Cold War to test nuclear weapons. All that radio fallout went into the ocean and created the characters that we know and love today.
I like
Cartoons that just don't make sense, part 2. They got their dad hanging on the wall. Arthur's listening to music with his head. He's gonna wear clothes in the house but not at the beach. The dog is walking the dog. Mr. Krabs is listening to music with his eyes. His eyes? You're telling me no one in the whole kingdom had her shoe size? He found a random corpse in the woods and decided to kiss it? They celebrated Christmas before Christ. If you want to know if cartoon characters are married, they obviously always look the same.
Movie fan theories that'll blow your mind. Now this is a crazy one involving Disney and some of its properties. So essentially Tarzan is the true prince to Frozen's Arendelle.
What?
Don't believe me? Let's take a trip. Okay, Frozen came out in 2013 featuring Flynn and Rapunzel, as you can see here at Elsa's coronation. And Tangled was released in 2010, 3 years before Frozen, and that was when Elsa and Anna's parents go on a 2-week trip and shipwreck. They were going to Rapunzel's wedding, but instead shipwrecked, which is actually the ship that Ariel finds all of the thingamabobs. Frozen writer Jennifer Lee actually confirmed the wedding in a Reddit post, but also mentioned they shipwrecked on an island, had a baby boy, and then were eaten by a leopard. Why does that sound so familiar? Well, it's literally the story of Tarzan. So Tarzan is the rightful heir to Arendelle and Anna and Elsa's brother.
My favorite headcanons of all time is that these two knuckleheads are actually incredibly powerful psychics that don't even know it. In their third year, they're totally making fun of Trelawney, making fun of divination, and just messing around. And they make up all sorts of stuff. They say that Harry's gonna get burned, and
Pause. Yo, comment down below if you're a Harry Potter fan. I'm definitely a Harry Potter fan. I read the first 4 books. That was back when I was in elementary school. Read the first 4 books, and I never caught back on after that. And I want to really get back into Harry Potter. You know, I've watched a few of the movies, some of the newer movies, but I want to read the books. So comment down below if you're a Harry Potter fan. Let me know.
that he's gonna drown, that he's gonna lose a treasured possession, that he'll get stabbed in the back, all of this stuff that they think is silly. And then Harry gets admitted into the Triwizard Tournament. Danger of getting burned? He faces a dragon. Check. Danger of drowning? He has to go into the Black Lake underwater for an hour. Check. Loses a treasured possession? He loses Ron, so check. Getting stabbed in the back? Yeah, the guy that they think is Mad-Eye Moody does that. Check. All I'm saying is, when it comes to reading tea leaves, you should probably pass your cup to them.
Urban Kid shows theories that will ruin your childhood.
Y'all gotta let me know if y'all got that. I didn't get
and the ending will make your spine shiver. The world of SpongeBob SquarePants is a product of nuclear testing. I'm not kidding. The city of Bikini Bottom is believed to be under the island of Bikini Atoll, where in actual history the US detonated 23 different nuclear bombs during the Cold War. The extensive testing impacted the creatures surrounding the area, and thus SpongeBob SquarePants and his friends were born. Follow if this made you question the SpongeBob show.
Yo, why does America, or why does any country for that matter, have to just test nuclear bombs anywhere? Like, y'all just destroying the world and all the inhabitants around it. Like, just imagine if Mub just started dropping nuclear bombs around us and we gotta live with the consequences. Man. What's this? Oh, snap. That ring was dirty. Whatever machine this is, I got some jewelry to be cleaned. Yo, it still got dirt coming off. Girl, I never Why is this so satisfying, yo? Oh my gosh. Hey, that last video was a little bit crazy. I mean, I got some jewelry that I need to be cleaned. I need to get whatever machine that was. But yeah, guys, these are some of the most crazy cartoon conspiracy theories. Hopefully it didn't ruin your childhood too much. If you like the content, don't forget to subscribe, turn your notification bell on, and until next time, YouTube, peace.